So all right, back we come here onto the Dave Elswick Show on a Thursday edition of the show, 9 o'clock hour now. And Razorback Zach is here on the Dave Elswick Show. His podcast has taken about 3 weeks off. They're returning to the air tomorrow. Is that right?
Tonight, actually.
Oh, tonight. Okay.
7 o'clock tonight.
So you'll be talking on air when Ole Miss is taking the field.
Yeah, we're going to try to line it up to where we're done right at kickoff.
Oh, okay.
We're going to probably do an abbreviated show tonight, depending. But we may overlap just a little bit with the playoff. But we'll have live updates throughout the show.
All right. So I got to ask you this. What your thoughts about Lane Kiffin? And the way I can only imagine, but the way that he has done this.
There's a different way he could have handled it. But I mean, in the realm of college football, the way it is nowadays and the way coaches are moving, I did not see him going to LSU, but I would have seen him going back to Florida, to the University of Florida. But jumping from one West school to another, it's Lane Kiffin. He's got a track record of this, of doing crazy, stupid stuff.
Well, wasn't it he went to UCLA and then left?
He went to USC.
Oh, USC,
yeah,
and
he
then
went
left.
to USC, went to Tennessee, was at Alabama for a year, and everybody thought under Saban he would mature a little bit.
He didn't.
He did to a very, very minuscule.
Okay, just maybe small, but yeah, I've never liked the kid.
I mean, he's one of those types of coaches that
I like his daddy.
Monty Kiffin was awesome.
I mean, he was a great defensive coach, and he had a little bit of loyalty to the programs that he went to, but his son didn't.
No, and again, that ties back into the way that the landscape of college football is now. Nobody has loyalty anywhere. Remember 30 years ago, the golden handcuffs on Houston Nutt, where he had to wait a certain amount of time before going to another SEC West school. Now they're putting in non-compete clauses where some of them are putting in non-compete clauses where you can't go to another conference school.
That'll be hard to get upheld in a court of law. Like I had when I was let go at the previous station I was at, I was supposed to not be able to go and work at any other radio station here locally for a year. And I told them, I'm going to sue you about that because I don't think that you can force me not to be able to make a living. And you know what? They never tried to enforce it.
If I remember right, that's what Houston Nutt did. And that's why he got that job at Ole Miss back in 2008. Same kind of thing. Lane Kiffin is Lane Kiffin. He's going to be that, and I'm going to call him a weasel. He likes to find the little holes and the loopholes in contracts and in rules to do his own thing.
Yeah, well, let me just warn the folks at LSU, what goes around comes around.
Yeah. It's going to be interesting to see how all this plays out.
I agree.
I want to see how those players respond to Lane Kiffin and the staff. He said he's not going to, that Ole Miss was a part of his past, but he brings all of his assistants.
Yep.
He's trying to get one of his quarterbacks to LSU. And I'm like, why didn't you just stay at Ole Miss?
Yeah, what do you think? What does this say about college football, and in fact college sports in general, that some of these kids that are doing fantastic jobs at quarterback, like Chambliss of Ole Miss, he was Division II last year, and is Division I this year, and is just shining like a bright supernova right now. And Mendoza is another perfect example of this.
Somebody asked Lane Kiffin and asked him something along the lines of, why did you choose Ole Miss? And he said, or why did he choose LSU? He said, well, LSU's got a better chance of winning a national championship than Ole Miss. I'm sorry, what? Where's Ole Miss right now versus where LSU's at?
I agree.
If you'd have stayed at Ole Miss, you'd potentially be playing for a national championship.
Yep.
You're the head coach. You got them there. You led them there. And you're going to tell me you went to LSU because they have a better landscape to win college football? You sure it's not the $90 million?
I would have said I could go along with that argument before the changes that we've seen recently in college football. But when it was all about money, anybody can pull together money.
You can't tell me
to get at least really one good quarterback.
I don't even think LSU made a bowl game this year. I don't think they were in a bowl this year.
Okay.
But you're going to tell me that LSU and Baton Rouge has a better chance of winning a national championship than Ole Miss, but Ole Miss is in the semifinals.
That's interesting. I don't agree with that. By the way, let me put something to rest. Cignetti has already said he ain't going to the NFL.
Oh no.
There's I guess a couple of NFL teams that have put out feelers that see.
I know the Steelers have, and who's the one that just got fired that blew everybody away?
Oh, Harbaugh
over
Ravens.
in Baltimore. Yeah. I know those two for sure have probably reached out.
Yeah. Bottom line is, if you're Cignetti, if you're making $11 million a year now, why would you want to go to the NFL?
Well, not only
I
that,
don't want to go to the NFL. I want to just stay where the money's at.
Dave, not only that, look at what he's done to Indiana. Look what he turned it around.
Yeah, he's still fashioning that program in his image. Right
Sustainability. Now. Indiana's going to become a power. If they're going to supplant their name number one in the history books, but we could potentially be looking at the new dynasty in college football.
That would be fun. That would be for me. That would be fun to have for all my life. You're always waiting for basketball season, and now you can look forward to football season as well.
Well, and like we've talked about all season, though, it's one that nobody ever saw coming.
No, that one came out.
If you'd have told me 3 years ago that Indiana would be number one in the country, they'd have the Heisman Trophy winner, and they'd be one game away from a national championship, I'd have said, "Ain't no way."
Yeah.
3 years ago, I'd have said,
"Are you
no
nuts?
Way.
You know, are you crazy?" Even last year.
Oh yeah.
Well,
no, because they went. Yeah. They had one loss last year.
Yeah, I know. Yeah, Ohio State.
Yeah.
They lost to Ohio State, and everybody. See, that's what I don't like, because Ohio State is, quote, Ohio State. They get the credibility that they're going to be number one. Not necessarily.
Here's the thing. Maybe in the Jim Tressel years, they were the Ohio State.
Well, it depended on how many T-shirts you could sell.
Right. But here's what I have to say about Ohio State now, because they've proven that they're not invincible.
Yeah, they have shown they're fallible.
So when somebody tries to argue with me about Ohio State, I have two words for them: big whoop. They're not as threatening as they used to be.
Well, neither is Alabama now.
Oh.
There's something to be said about the caliber of coaches. You know, you take somebody like Saban, or you take like somebody from, Signelli here now. They take that word coach to heart, and they build things into these players.
Oh, yeah. Oh, definitely. That's
what Saban did. That's what Bear Bryant did.
Yeah. And that's what's going to be interesting about Razorback football in the next couple of years. It's about to get pretty interesting up in Fayetteville.
I want to see how good this guy from Memphis does.
I'm trying not to drink the Kool-Aid, but I'm looking at the cup sitting on my desk right now, and I'm like, that looks really good. But I know if I start drinking it now, I'm going to get heartbroken by next year.
But I would say this. I bet that's the way people thought when Indiana hired Cignetti. They probably looked at him and said, okay, all right, maybe we'll win a couple of more games. This guy from Memphis seems to have some stuff going for him.
Well, and when he hit the ground running, and he was turning, and within 4 days, he was turning around in-state recruits that had gone to other places, bringing them back to Arkansas, something we haven't seen since Nut.
Yeah.
And I'm cautiously optimistic because the staff that he's put together is pretty decent, and if you look at the ratio of the players we lost versus the players we're coming in from the portal, we're number 8 in the country.
Well, that's good
right now. But I'm not gonna put any judgment or anything on it till spring ball.
Well, I'll be one that if they play 500 ball next year, I'll be happy.
They get 500. I mean, that based on where we've been the last 3-4 years.
Yeah.
He comes out his first year and wins 6 games. I'm okay with that.
Yeah.
I'm okay with that. But, you were talking about the caliber of coaches and the downfall of Ohio State, the downfall of Alabama. How about the downfall of Kentucky basketball? They lost to Missouri last night. These fans are fuming. They're calling for Mark Pope to get fired now.
Yeah.
Kentucky hasn't.
They eat their young.
9 years. Yeah.
I'm being honest. They do. I went to school in Kentucky. I know how their fans are.
But Missouri hadn't won at Kentucky in 9 years.
Yeah.
They go in.
Oh, so they went in and beat them at Rupp.
They went in and beat them in Rupp.
Oh my God.
They've hit rock bottom. So the game on the 31st when Kentucky comes to Fayetteville, that's going to be a wild crowd. That's going to be a wild crowd.
Have to see how that all turns out. All right, we got to get a break in. First break of the 9 o'clock hour. It's Thursday, the first Thursday of 2026. We got a lot more to talk about. We got a lot more to talk about when we talk about the games that are happening tonight and tomorrow night in college football. And as I promised you, we will talk about Calipari and the Razorback basketball team. Don't forget about PI Roofing. You need some residential roofing work, maintenance, or you need a new roof put on, period. Look no further than PI Roofing. Joel Johnson, the owner, and I have known each other now for over 20 years. He's put on 2 roofs on the house that I have now. I put a new roof on when I first bought my home a little over 20 years ago, and we put another roof on here in the last 5-6 years after a hailstorm that we had out in the Cabot area, and they've done a tremendous job both times. I always talk about that second one because they were putting up the roof on my house, and they were finishing up on Super Bowl Sunday. And I told them, I said, if you want to do that, that's fine, but my direct TV better be hooked back up by the time kickoff comes up, because I will not miss the Super Bowl because you all are trailing behind. They were done 3 hours before kickoff, and everything went off without a problem. When it comes to PI Roofing, they stand behind their work, and they get up there and they get at it. They typically can do a full roof teardown and then re-roof it within a day and a half. That is PI Roofing. The way you get a hold of them now, it used to be you had about 3 different numbers you could call. Now you just go on the internet and go to piroofing.com. All right, back with you. Dave Elswick Show. We're talking sports with Razorback Zach. A lot of sports to talk about today. Typically, this time of year, if it hadn't been the way it had been before, we'd already have a new national championship in college football. That's not going to happen for another week now. So is that going to be – that's going to be on a Monday night.
Yeah, it's going to be on Monday night. January 19th, I do believe.
Yeah. And so I'll definitely be camping out in front of my television set tomorrow night to watch Indiana play. But, when you get to this point in your season, if that oblong ball just happens to bounce the wrong way, it can cost you a game.
Oh, yeah. The pressure, going through the regular season is one thing. But once you hit the postseason, and especially in the playoffs, it's
one and done.
It's one and done. And it one misstep. I believe it was Any Given Sunday. 1 inch, you don't quite catch it.
Yep.
That whole speech. It could turn the entire game on its head. But I don't see any weaknesses in Indiana. I don't.
Well, when I was watching Georgia, I I saw them drop more passes last week than I think I've ever seen them drop. And it seemed to me it was players that were kind of looking upfield as the ball's coming in. Now, I don't know if that was because whoever was laying the wood after they caught the ball was rattling some people's teeth in their head, or they were just really looking to see which way do I go, right or left.
Georgia never settled into their game plan, and they looked about as unsettled as a Georgia team as I've seen in a long time. You know, they used when Alabama's dynasty started falling off, and Georgia started their 3 or 4 year rise. It was always Georgia's a beast; they can't be stopped.
Mm-hmm.
All season long, Georgia has finally looked human.
Well, yeah, they have.
They've looked mortal, and
last
week all those weaknesses
come close several times of losing games and pulled them out of their rear ends.
All game last week, their weaknesses were finally exploited to the extreme, and it got them beat.
Yeah. Bottom line is this: if you're playing any sport and you're playing close to the flame when you're playing, don't expect that you won't get burned sooner or later, and it'll be at the worst possible time.
Mm-hmm.
And that happened to Georgia. But, because to be honest with you, Ole Miss didn't deserve to win that ball game.
No, they didn't. They got lucky.
Well, I'll talk one play. It's the one where their quarterback, what's his name? The quarterback. Trinidad, yeah. Fell back about 20 yards to throw the ball and was running from sideline to sideline, and the Georgia defenders couldn't get to him. If they got to him, game's over.
Yeah, if they'd have hit it, if they'd have just slowed him down, stopped him, do something, that game would have been over. And we're talking Georgia, Miami,
yeah,
instead of Ole Miss, Miami.
So that's not the case. Now I wanted to see Georgia win because I wanted to watch, the coach from Georgia go up against his former
Carson
quarterback.
Beck. Yeah,
I thought that'd have been interesting. Now the game tonight, Carson Beck has to have another good game. Does he have another good game? In his repertoire. That's the question.
I just don't. If Miami has any chance of winning this game, it's going to be on the backs of their defense.
Well, that's what it was the week before.
I'm just not. I don't have any confidence in Carson Beck.
I mean, the Miami defense just tore Texas Tech a new one.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, have you ever seen a defensive player come through the line of scrimmage and take the ball out of the quarterback's hands before? I've never seen that happen.
I never saw that till last week.
Yeah. I have never seen that.
I had to slow it down just to see it again, how he did it.
Yeah.
And he timed it perfectly.
Yes, he did. It was amazing. So as far as the defense goes, we can talk about the U is back. Offensively, no, not yet.
Carson Beck has been one of the most inconsistent quarterbacks I've seen this season.
And he's got so much talent.
Yeah. But now we understand why he never made it at Georgia.
Yeah. There's a lot more going on being a quarterback than just having a great arm.
Yeah, you have to be able to read the defense. You have to.
Yeah,
you got to
know where people. You got to look at it, the defense, and you can't miss that there's somebody that's sitting over here, a safety on the left side, and if he falls to the right and gives help on the coverage, you're going to throw an interception if you throw it to the right.
Every time. And that's Carson Beck's biggest problem, is if you watch how he throws, he thinks that receiver's going to stop. Here's the thing, receivers don't stop till they're open. And even then they don't stop.
Yeah, they're not supposed to stop at least. That's what they're not supposed to do. If they do, most quarterbacks get really irritated.
His problem is he's throwing it at the receiver when he needs to be throwing it 2 or 3 seconds before the receiver gets to where he's going. Throw it ahead of him.
When you think of the most overrated quarterback in the NFL over the history of the game, what name comes to mind?
Johnny Manziel.
Okay. Well, I read See, he wasn't there long enough to even be considered a quarterback in the NFL.
Now, you talking one that had a career in the NFL?
They went on to, let's say, made it to the Football Hall of Fame in Canton.
Ooh.
Most overrated. I read an article, and I got to say, when you look at the numbers, this quarterback never should have made the Hall of Fame.
One that's in Canton? I don't know.
Namath.
Really?
His numbers are terrible. I mean, the reason that he probably made the Hall of Fame is because he did the whole Broadway Joe thing.
Yeah.
And first AFC team to knock off the NFC.
That's probably what got him in.
When they knocked off the Colts.
Yeah, that's right.
That was the big thing for him. All right, we got to get the news. Let's do that. That gives you something to argue about over a beer tonight.
There you go.
When you're talking sports. 9:30. Let's take a break here on the Dave Elswick Show. All right, we continue here on the Dave Elswick Show. Razorback Zach is here. We're going to talk about the Razorback basketball team now. But let me ask a question leading into John Calipari, and that is Duke is either number 1 or number 2 in the rankings right now. And I watched the game, I think it was maybe Tuesday night when they played Louisville, and they won the game at the end. My question is, how long before the officials start calling Boozer for
chicken wing?
Being too physical. I mean, there's something to be said for making contact with the defensive player. Boozer takes it to a whole another level. The last player that I saw hip guys as much as Boozer does was when Shaq was doing it at LSU. He would move people out of the lane by using his hip. To me, that shouldn't be allowed.
It shouldn't be, but I mean, again, and Duke, oh my goodness, Duke had heavy home cooking that night.
Oh yeah,
but they also had heavy home cooking when they played Arkansas on Thanksgiving, and you saw it because Boozer would throw what we call chicken wings.
Yeah, he's using his elbows.
Yeah. Which, I mean, you can do that. That's how I was
straight.
taught.
Hey, he straight arms all the time,
yeah.
Pushing people off of him. They don't whistle him for it.
And I don't understand why. But I don't know.
Because he's the new boy on the block that everybody loves.
And his dad is Carlos Boozer.
Yeah.
So, I don't know. That one makes no sense to me, and it's irritating to see Duke get all the favoritism.
Well, when it gets close... and there's a close call and Boozer's involved, don't expect the call to go against Boozer. I'm just telling you.
No,
I've not seen it yet.
It's very prevalent in that game.
All right. So Arkansas is ranked 15th now here in the nation. I personally think they've got enough that they could be top 10, but they're not. But the bottom line is they're playing good ball right now. Finally, we're seeing somebody who is taking that big kid and made him into a good defensive ball player.
Mm-hmm.
You know?
Yeah, so last night there were 6 guys in double figures. Last night, you're 2-0 in the SEC, first time since 2014, 2015.
That's amazing.
When Bobby Portis was on the roster.
That's amazing.
You have the ability to. Go into Saturday and go 3-0.
Who are they playing?
That is a very good question. I had it. Let me look at my notes. It's a 5:00 tip. I know that.
That's a weird time. It must be a triple header on ESPN
Auburn.
Or something. Auburn is not the team that they've been in the past.
Well, Bruce Pearl's
he's gone. Yeah.
I wanted to see. I was watching the game. Was it Monday night? And whichever one, I think it was Monday night. Auburn was playing, and I wanted to see if Pearl his son was going to bust a blood vessel and have a stroke on the sideline. He was losing his mind because of the way his guys were playing.
Yeah,
it was bad. But no, Darius Acuff, man,
he has not only performed as advertised, but done more.
Oh yeah, and he's the type of and me and the guys were talking last night during the show. MC said he's the kind of closer that you want on that team that the Hogs need.
Yeah, he's got ice in his veins.
Oh yeah, and it showed last night. But the one thing I liked about that I like seeing out of this team is the way that they're playing together. There's no me ball. There's no me. Now Darius, when he gets in the zone and he's feeling it, he can be a little of a ball hawk, but that's okay because when the other four guys on the floor are doing their part or they're not feeling it, A-Cuff picks up the ball and says,
he does.
Let's go. Let's win this thing.
Yeah. Yeah, I think Brazil is the most improved ball player on the Razorbacks.
Yes. I like the tenacity of Billy Richmond. I like how aggressive. He can get a little too aggressive sometimes. But I like that. I like to see that fight.
Well, see, that's for Calipari to pull that back.
And I think he did very well.
If you got to pull it back, he can bring him off the court and say, "Hey, you're doing the job, but think about this," and talk to the player. But yeah, I'm going to say Calipari is doing a great job of coaching this year. Last few years that he's been in college basketball, I think Calipari went out and when he was recruiting players that he didn't have to coach, that he wanted to be like Leo DeRocher and just throw 9 players out on the field and tell them to go win.
Well, I mean, when you've got as many one and dones as he'd had at Kentucky, of course he's going to do that because they think you get 5 stars and you get all this talent that they're going to be able to play together.
Not necessarily. You got to be willing to give up the ball at the right time.
Look, and we talked about this last year. The biggest transition in any kind of sport is from year 1 to year 2. And look at year 2 under Calipari right now.
Looks good.
Yeah, we dropped games to Duke. We dropped games to Houston. We dropped games to who's the other one?
And maybe those are teams that we should drop too.
I'm okay with those 3 losses right now because what matters is conference play. Now, granted, that's going to play into a factor come March, but we needed to lose those games to see what we were lacking in to go back and fix, which is why we were able to play at such a high level against Tennessee, why we were able to play at such a high level against Ole Miss.
They lost, Michigan State?
Mm-hmm. That's the other one, Michigan State.
Okay.
And here's the thing. When you go down to Ole Miss, weird things happen at Ole Miss for Arkansas. Like, that is the most bewitched campus I have ever seen. We could shoot lights out at Bud Walton. You go down to Ole Miss and
Clang.
Years past, there's something over the rim that we can't make a bucket.
Yeah, you hear a lot of clanging. Mm-hmm. That's what you hear.
But it didn't happen last night. It didn't, and that was a statement right there.
And do you think that most fans don't understand the differences from court to court? The differences in playing ball? I mean, that's the thing that makes basketball so interesting is, how tight do they have those hoops, tightened up and stuff?
Yeah. Yeah, it's you have to factor that in, but you also have to factor in the atmosphere.
Yeah.
Especially on a road game.
It's hard. I don't care where you go. If there's 30 people in the stands, it's hard to bring your best game. I'm telling you. It's not easy. It doesn't get your adrenaline going. But
if you listened at the end of the game, it sounded like half that arena at Ole Miss was Hog fans with how loud that Hog call was. There's something special building in this team. If we can sustain it and stay healthy, I said it in July.
Deep run.
We may be hanging a banner in Bud Walton before.
I don't know if I'll go that far, but I think that's the other thing that fans have to understand. Hanging a banner is great, but let's say if Indiana drops it on Friday, they've had an incredible season.
Come back, do it again next year, and win the whole thing.
Yeah, I mean, there is a frog's hair of difference sometimes between the team that wins and the team that loses.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, it's that thin. It may be even thinner than that. It may be that the team that beat you couldn't have beat you the next 9 times they play you.
Right.
It's just
You're absolutely right.
It is the way that sports are. That's why I watch it.
Yeah, that's why we love it so much.
I mean, great drama on television. There's no better drama than the last minute of an NCAA basketball tournament.
That first
game.
weekend in March,
yes,
when all those games, oh my goodness.
That's fantastic. It's great.
But it's one of those, okay, so we made the Sweet 16 last year. Where are we going this year? We going to Elite 8? We going to Final Four? We're going to win the whole thing. What scares me, though, is, okay, we win the whole thing. Now what?
Yeah, where to choose next? I agree.
Are we going to go another 40 years without a championship? I mean, that's kind of how it feels right now. If you're a Hog fan, all around, you're cautiously optimistic because you don't want.
Yeah, you don't want to get in front of yourself.
Right. Now, look, we may end up dropping one in conference play. You can't win them all. That's why we play 60 to 80 games a year. All right? Depending on who we lose to, if we lose, it's okay. It's not the end of the world.
What are some of the tougher games they've got coming up now?
Honestly, I haven't actually looked at the full schedule yet, and that's I've taken 3 weeks off. I'm having to get back in the swing of things. You got Vanderbilt coming up on the 20th.
They're playing well.
You got Georgia the Saturday before. Other than that, I mean, that's
is the Georgia game there or here?
I want to say it's here.
Playing in Bud Walton is...
Nope, I take that back. It's at Georgia.
Yeah. If they were playing in Bud Walton, I would have said that the Razorbacks shouldn't have a problem with Georgia. But if they're not playing here, they might just struggle a little bit at Georgia.
I mean, the only 2 teams right now that are ranked above Arkansas is Alabama and Vanderbilt. And even Alabama's struggling right now.
Yeah, well, Alabama's not the strong team that they've been in the last couple of years. And Vanderbilt... this is their best year in a while.
Vanderbilt may give us a little trouble. It just kind of depends on how the dominoes fall.
So are they a 3-point shooting team?
Yes and no. They're kind of balanced.
Oh, that's the best team to have.
If anything, they'd match up well with Arkansas. It's going to be a barn burner.
Okay. Is that at? Are they playing Vanderbilt or playing at home?
It's at. It's in Bud Walton.
Okay, good.
So that's good for I don't know.
That's good for 3 points.
Yeah, 3 to 8 points.
Yeah, that's good.
But no, I mean, and again, the standings could change week to week very rapidly. Anybody can lose on any given night. So as of right now, though, it's Vanderbilt and Alabama are the 2 teams that are ranked higher than Arkansas. So as far as going into March, you may drop one in a weird way, but this team could make a deeper run than they have in the last 20 years.
Only time will tell.
Only time will tell.
We'll find out. All right, stick around. We'll talk a little bit more here with Razorback Zach. Now I know Razorback is a big, Wool Pig Suey Razorback fan for baseball. We'll get his thoughts about baseball when we come back here on the Dave Elswick Show. Back here on the Dave Elswick Show, first week back in 2026, and first show with Razorback Zach today for 2026. And we've talked football, college football, and we've talked college basketball. Let's talk college baseball because it's just around the corner.
Away.
Yeah, it's just around the corner. How's the SEC looking, lining up this year as far as baseball is concerned?
Well, I haven't taken a deep look at baseball yet. One of the guys and I are probably going to look at it probably in the next couple of weeks, just before opening day. But for what it's worth, the SEC in baseball is always top of the game, top of the
typically.
Lineup. Yeah. As far as Arkansas goes, there's a couple of key teams that are missing from our schedule that I'm kind of disappointed that we're not playing. We're not playing Texas. We're not playing Tennessee. Vanderbilt's not on the schedule. Florida. And I don't think Ole Miss is on there either.
Well, what do you think happens to Tennessee this year? Their coach has left. He's going to be a manager in professional baseball. Do you think that he does well in professional baseball, or will he be back into collegiate sports in the next year or so?
That's kind of hard to tell. If the Tony Vitello that was at Tennessee is the same Tony Vitello at the San Francisco Giants, it's not going to work out very well for him. The attitudes on the team and all that, I don't think he's ready for it.
Well, it's totally different. In college, the players have to sort of listen to you.
Yeah.
When you get into professional, if they think what you're feeding them is a bunch of crap, they'll tell you.
And as far as Tennessee goes, I think you're going to see Tennessee rebuild.
Okay.
That's kind of my feeling right now. Like I said, I haven't taken a very deep look.
So is it going to be Mississippi again? That's going to be their main challenge?
Probably. Arkansas is shaping up. I mean, Arkansas is always up there. But as of right now, I'd say the SEC's wide open.
Oh, okay.
There's not to me, there's not a clear-cut favorite.
All right. So you don't think that that Dave has put together another juggernaut that he's
always putting together juggernauts. But like I said, until they get on the field, they play somebody other than themselves and work those kinks out, it's kind of going to be really hard to tell who's going to stand out above who. I'd probably guess mid-March you'll start seeing that separation between the SEC schools as to where they're going to land. And then come late April, early May, that's when you'll see the true
of how it's going to.
Yeah, once you hit the meat and potatoes of the conference schedule, and they start rolling, you'll start. But I want to remind everybody.
Okay, go ahead.
It's not about wins and losses in baseball. Okay, a single game, single loss isn't going to hurt you in a series. It's the series loss. Dave Van Horn has rarely lost a series in the SEC the last couple of years.
Yeah, that's the way you get a regional.
Yeah, that's the way you get a regional. Now, don't think of it as he's going to sweep everybody. It may not sweep. He may just take, he may win Friday and Saturday and then drop the Sunday game. That's okay.
So on names that you know right now, any special names for pitchers? Because you can never have enough good pitching.
Yeah, I haven't looked at the roster yet. Like I said, we're still making that transition from football to basketball, but I'll have a name for you here in the next couple of weeks.
All right. We need to talk about that.
Oh, absolutely.
I'm a big baseball fan. I like SEC baseball. I like watching it. It's like watching Double-A baseball, and as far as Major League Baseball goes. These guys are a lot of the big players in college ball. Will be in Double-A the next couple of years. And doing their thing. But once you get into Double-A, then it's just continuing to play well and knowing that you got to wait your turn.
Sometimes you don't get out of the farm leagues.
You don't get out of AAA, I'll tell you that, unless somebody usually gets hurt.
And that's a very rare occurrence.
Yeah, where they got to leave the field, and it can't be, the medical staff can't get them back out on the field. I saw, was I wrong, or did I see that Tucker signed with the Dodgers?
I think he did.
Did he? All right. See, the Dodgers of today are like the Yankees of the 80s. Steinbrenner would buy his teams, and now the Dodgers are doing the same.
Oh, yeah.
They're going in and signing up and paying for as much talent as they can just to keep other teams from having that talent.
Yep.
That's what they're doing. So,
but that's the way the game is now.
Yeah, that is the way it's back to whoever's got enough greenbacks to pay the big players.
It's all about money now.
Well, it's always been about money, but it you could still win even if you weren't paying the big bucks.
Right.
I mean, Oakland won without paying the big bucks.
They're having trouble getting their new team name.
Yeah.
Did you see that?
Yeah. They don't. They say they couldn't have Oakland or not Oakland, but Las Vegas athletes.
Which
they wouldn't get. I still don't understand that because they had the Athletics since they were in Philadelphia.
Right.
So I don't get it, but that's
I have
the way
no
it
idea.
works. I guess I'm not a lawyer when it comes to trademarks.
Right. I'm not.
But I did sleep at a Holiday Inn over the holidays. So anyway, I don't know. I really don't know. I don't know how that works. And to be honest, and I hope that they don't have to change their names.
I hope not.
I hope they can hold on, and I hope they keep that gold and green as their team colors.
That would be good.
I like that.
That's their signature.
And go back to wearing the white spikes. You remember that?
Vaguely.
Okay, yeah.
Vaguely.
Wearing the white. That's when Ricky Henderson was with
Yep.
them. Yeah, and everybody knew they were white, but only because they were a blur. And you could tell that they were white because Ricky could run the base paths. All right, let's take a break and say thanks to Razorback Zach for being with us. People can listen to you tonight, correct?
7 o'clock tonight, Facebook, YouTube, and on Twitter, Inside the Hog Pen, HAWG. And we'll be talking hogs.
Listen, you'll keep up with what's going on in the Razorback world. I'm Dave Elswick. Stay tuned. We've got 10 o'clock. Matt Smith's going to be coming in. We'll talk movies with him, and I don't know what else will come up. It's you never know when it comes to Matt Smith here on the Dave Elswick Show.